In this chapter, we're going to move beyond basic visualizations and look at some more advanced visualizations. Now, keep in mind, advanced doesn't necessarily mean difficult or complex. Tableau makes it easy to create pretty advanced graphics in a very quick and easy fashion. And we don't want to be intentionally creating complex, difficult to read charts. Advanced in this sense just means that we're using chart types that are otherwise maybe harder to create in other software, like a Gantt chart or a heat map or things like that. So this is the starter workbook, and let's just talk about some of the important concepts that you're going to be reviewing as you work through chapter 3 up to page 92, which is the section titled Relating Parts of the Data to the Whole. That's where we're going to stop for this module. If you're using the electronic textbook, remember that the page numbers aren't going to match because they change depending on your monitor or your font size or a number of things. So use the section and chapter as guides to help you know when to stop reading. Okay, let's get into it. So first, let's just talk about some functionality that we're going to be working with today. So let's say that we want to look at the number of patient visits by department. So I'm going to move department over here. Oh, I need to connect my data. Okay, I just basically removed the connection and reinstated it. Sometimes if you get an error like that, you might have to go back and just start over. So I've put department up here under rows, and then I want to know how many patients each department had. So I'm going to take number of patient visits. I'm going to put that up here. Okay, so now I have this bar chart, but I think it's easier and more valuable to see because I want to know right away which department had the most visits. So I'm going to go ahead and sort up here by descending. And now I can see very quickly and easily that general surgery had the highest number of patient visits in this data set. These are the types of things that you want to think about when you're creating a visual. It's one thing to just create a bar chart, but we want to create a bar chart that adds as much value as possible to the viewer. So by sorting, we're doing the work for the viewer so that they can very quickly glean the information they need from this visual. Okay, let's talk about a bullet chart, which will also help us to learn about the functionality of filtering and practice that a little bit. So we're going to start with revenue by department. I'm going to drag this here, and then I'm going to pull revenue up here. Now I have my basic bar chart. Again, I want to sort this highest to low so that it's of the most value to me. And then now I'm going to go ahead and filter by the date of admit. So I'm going to drag this over to the filters column, and I only want 2019. So I double clicked years and I'm selecting 2019. I'm going to hit apply and then OK. Okay, so now our view looks like this, and in the data pane, we're going to select the goal field under our hospital goals CSV table, and then open show me and select the bullet graph option. So let's go ahead and do that. So we click goal, and then over here you can see the bullet graph option. So when we do that, it creates a new chart for us. Now note that it reordered our field. So we can come back up here and put it back the way we had it before. I want to point out that Tableau swapped our revenue and goal, our intended fields. So to fix that, I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to say swap reference line fields, and now I have revenue back on the bottom, and my measure for goal is over here where I'd like it. Okay, so we have our marks for the goals, which we can see here, and then we can see how each department is meeting its target. But let's say that we want to go even further with this and make this even more apparent to the user. We can call out the bars that fail to meet or exceed the threshold by using a calculated field. So in the data pane, we're going to create a calculated field. We're going to name the field goal met. Okay, and then we're going to edit this with a formula. Our formula is going to be sum revenue greater than or equal to sum goal, and then we're going to verify the calculation is valid and hit OK. Now we can take this goal met calculation and drag it up to color, and we can see for those who have met their goal, they are colored orange for true, and then for those who have not met their goal, they're colored blue for false. So we can quickly see revenue by department, their target goal, and whether or not they've met that goal. As you work through, you're going to practice these concepts as well as some other concepts like grouping, which we covered in the reading last module. There's a couple other just like small things that I'd like to show you. So the legend here shows the aggregate of the goal met because it's a calculated field. The title looks a little funny. Let's go ahead and edit the legend title to just say goal met. Now this looks cleaner when we go to pull this graphic into a presentation or dashboard or any other display. The axis here looks fine. We have everything titled, just kind of visually inspecting the chart. It doesn't appear that anything else is confusing or misleading. So we're happy with this, and then we'll continue to move on to the next example. Just wanted to show you that little trick for when you're doing your homework. Make sure you're looking at your graphics and making sure that they look nice, but also that your legend is legible and understandable and easy for the viewer to decipher. For your homework, you're going to be practicing these types of charts, but with a different data set. And you're going to interpret each chart in a few sentences. So when you create your dashboard, you'll need to use text containers to provide those explanations. So let's say that I'm creating my dashboard for my homework. I'm going to pull over some visuals. This one's no good because it's empty. And I just want to show you very quickly how to add a text container. So I only have 2 pulled in right now because I think that's all I have completed, but you will have 3. And then to add a text container, come down here into objects, pull your text container over wherever it makes sense. So in this case, maybe I'm writing for this chart here. Now, this is obviously has a caption with an explanation already, but your graphics won't have that. That's just how they built the starter workbook. So I would go ahead and put in my interpretation of this chart and what it means, and then I would hit OK, and then now my text container's here. If I want to edit it, I can just double click. Maybe I want the font to be a little bigger. or what have you. You can add additional text containers this way. And then I'd also like to show you another trick really quickly to help make your dashboards look nice. So this legend right now is taking up this whole column. If you click over here, you can change this legend to floating, and now it's no longer gonna take up the whole column. So you can move it over here and then actually increase the space you have for your graphics. So, we don't really, it's okay that this is overlapping because this chart has a lot of blank space in it anyway. I could also, maybe, well, that doesn't look great, but if my chart title were smaller, I could maybe put it up here or block that out altogether. But anyway, that will allow you to kind of keep your dashboard nice and clean. Now, another thing to point out is that this container doesn't actually fit the entire view, which isn't ideal either. So you might need to play a little bit with your text containers. Just make sure that you specify, what you're referring to. Let's see. So maybe I end up with something like this. I can resize accordingly. And oops. Now I'm happy with how this looks. Everything's arranged nicely. Of course, again, you're going to have 3, so you might have to play around, move things around, but it will really help you out to make your legends floating.